Fabulous. Okay, so let's start in a comfortably seated position, however that might look for you. And finding a place where your hands and your arms are feeling comfortable. Your shoulders can roll down your back and you can have a nice long spine. And if you feel comfortable, just closing your eyes once you've found your position. And firstly, just settling into that position that you've decided to sit into. So just bringing your awareness to your legs on the ground, your arms on your legs. Just taking a moment just to settle into your sitting. And just taking a moment to check in with how your body's feeling, just noticing what's going on. So we've talked about injuries, but also just noticing your energy. Are you feeling a little tired, just to kind of neither tired nor energetic? Are you feeling a little restless or very calm? It doesn't matter what it is that you're feeling, just noticing. And then bringing your awareness to your breathing. So again, keeping your eyes closed and just, again, firstly noticing how you're breathing. Doesn't matter if that changes the way that you're breathing. So just noticing whether the breath is deep or shallow, fast or slow. And if it feels good for you in this moment, just take some really nice deep inhales and exhales. So maybe it's the first time you're thinking about your breathing today. And wherever you are, also consciously relaxing your shoulders down. So when we focus on our breath, we also have a tendency to kind of tense everything up to make sure we're breathing as much as we can, but trying to do it as relaxed as possible. And then, like we did last week, if you want to, you can set an intention for the beginning of your practice, whatever that might be. So it's your hour of practice. And if an intention doesn't come to you, or if it doesn't feel like a normal thing to do, then maybe just setting the intention of an hour of self-care, allowing whatever happens to happen, not pushing yourself too hard in any direction. Okay, and then when you're ready, slowly opening the eyes and coming onto your mat, or the space where you would be having your mat. So coming onto your hands and knees into your four-legged position. Just checking in with Annie that everything is okay. Think so? Yeah. So coming onto your hands and knees, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And then again, moving with the breath and just starting to move the spine. So you can move in whichever direction feels good for you, but also you can do cat-cow, so rolling your shoulders back, looking up as you inhale, and then looking down, pulling the belly button up towards your spine as you exhale. And continuing this movement in your own time, in your own breath, or moving the spine however feels good for you. We're just starting to mobilize moving the spine. So whichever way you go, taking a few deep breaths here, bringing the movement, focusing generally just on your back. And one more deep breath. And then coming back to tabletop, coming back to your neutral position, bring the knees out slightly. And then exhale, bring the hips all the way down to the heels and bring your hands forward, resting down, relaxing the neck and head down, and just allowing your back to relax here. Nice deep breath. And then as you inhale, coming onto your hands, tucking your toes under and pushing the hips up towards the ceiling, making a straight line from your hands all the way to your hips, and then starting to pad the feet towards the ground. So you can bring one heel and then the other heel towards the floor, or bending both knees at the same time, whatever feels good. Nice deep breaths. They'll probably feel a little bit stiff, and especially in the back of your legs, this first down dog, that's okay. And then as you inhale, keeping the knees bent, slowly bringing the feet towards the hands, up until a certain point, and bending the knees and bringing the hands back towards the feet, keeping the knees bent. Then inhale, lengthen forward, exhale, folding down, letting go of your neck and head. And then inhale, slowly rolling up, keeping the knees bent, rolling all the way up to standing. Neck and head come up last, rolling the shoulders back. And have a little tiny shake. Coming back to the front of your mat, we're going to do a couple of vinyasas. So bringing your feet forward, bending the knees slightly. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, folding down, bending the knees. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, folding down, keeping your knees bent. Inhale, hands come forward. Legs come back, walking the legs back. And coming into plank, then bringing down your knees, chest and chin, all the way down to the floor. And then inhale, bring the forearms forward, reaching up, looking upwards. Exhale, bring the hands down underneath the shoulders. And inhale, coming onto the knees. And bring the heels back towards the hips. And exhale. And then inhale, tucking the toes under and pushing up into your down dog. Nice deep breaths. So you'll notice that we were doing the same sequence that we did last week and the week before, but we just sped it up ever so slightly. Nice. And then inhale, again, stepping the feet towards the hands, keeping the knees bent. And then stepping the hands towards the feet, again, keeping the knees bent. Inhale, lengthen forward, and exhale, folding down. And inhale, you can roll up like we just did, or you can squat your way up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale, drop the arms down. Nice. One more time. So again, coming back to the front of your mat. Feet pointing forward, bending the knees slightly. Inhale, bring the arms up. And exhale, folding down. Inhale, keeping the knees bent, looking forward. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, legs come back, stepping the legs back. Nice. Inhale, and then knees, chest and chin all the way down to the floor. Bring the legs down. Inhale, bring the forearms forward. Have a little exhale here. And then inhale, looking up. Exhale, hands come underneath the shoulders. Tucking the toes under, first coming onto the knees. And then pushing up from the feet into your down dog. Pressing the feet into the ground. Nice deep breaths. And really, really stretching out your back, stretching out the shoulders. And inhale, coming forward. Bring the knees down again. Bring the knees slightly a little bit further out towards the sides of the mat. And then bring the heels to the hips. The hips to the heels even, and stretching out the hands. Bring the forehead down and just allowing yourself to melt into the floor, just relaxing. Nice deep breaths. Sorry, ignore me. I've just realized that I'm not recording the right box, so now I am. Okay. So you're down here in your child's pose. Melting into the floor, letting go of the neck and head down. And then inhale, coming onto your hands, stretching your fingers out onto the mat. Inhale. And again, tucking the toes under, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. And slowly bringing the feet towards your hands, keeping your knees bent. And then you can step your hands back towards your feet, keeping your knees bent again. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, folding down. And again, you can roll up, or you can do your reverse squat up all the way towards the ceiling. As you inhale, exhale, bring the hands down. Very nice. Okay, so from here, we're going to take a hip width distance step for your feet. Make sure that you can see me. So that your feet are about hip width distance apart and pointing forward, so that the insides of your feet are parallel. They're not slightly out and they're not slightly in. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. And exhale, folding forward at the hips. Bending your knees to keep your lower back nice and straight. And then inhale, bring your hands forward. And exhale, folding down. So it doesn't matter how bent your knees need to be for this. You're just inhale, reaching forward. You can use your hands as an extension. And then exhale, folding down. Letting go of your neck and head. Breathing into the back of your legs. That might be a little bit shaky. Nice deep breaths. So not using the muscles of your neck. Letting your head hang down. And then inhale, lengthening slightly. And exhale, you can take hold of your feet, either taking hold of your toes, big toes with 2 fingers and a thumb, or taking hold of the outside of your feet, or just touching your feet. And again, same thing. So inhale, lengthening forward. Exhale, keeping the knees bent, folding down. Nice deep breaths. Pulling your shoulder blades apart, rolling your shoulders away from your neck. And then inhale, looking forward. Exhale, placing the hands back on your hips. And inhale, keeping your knees where they are, coming all the way back up nice and slowly with your back. Nice and slowly, because otherwise you can get quite dizzy coming up too fast. Okay, nice. And then taking a step a little bit further out down your mat. So the longer your legs, the bigger the step. Again, making sure that your feet are parallel. They're not pointing a little outwards and not a little inwards, just nice and straight. Hands on the hips. Inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, hinging from the hips. Coming forward, we're going to do more or less the same thing. So keeping the knees bent. And inhale, bring your hands out. Also so that you feel you've got a little bit more stability here. Reaching out as you inhale, and then exhale, folding your upper body down towards your legs. That's the aim. But it doesn't matter where you end up. It doesn't matter what shape you end up making. So long as you're feeling that stretch and your back feels comfortable as well. And then when you've reached your shape, then letting go of your neck and head. And again, just focusing on your breath and breathing into the back of your legs and into the hips. Nice deep breaths. And you can also just experiment a little bit and see what happens if you bend your knees slightly. Excellent. And then inhale, place your hands back on your hips. Bend your knees a little bit. Exhale. And then as you inhale, coming up nice and slowly. It's quite a big stretch for the inside of your hips, but we're going to work on this a little bit today. So coming back into the center of your mat and have a little shake. Nice. So we're going to, I'm loving the shaking. And so my intention today is that we're going to work on our hips and we're going to work on our balance. So the next thing is a little bit of a combination of both. So again, taking a nice step down your mat, more or less the same as before, only this time bring your feet outwards so they're kind of pointing, an angle that feels natural for your feet to point away from you. And then you want to make sure that your pelvis is tilted inwards slightly. So try and illustrate that. So if you have a tendency to stand a little bit like this as I do, tilt your pelvis inwards slightly so that you can stay straight, and then dip down. So it's like a very wide squat. There's a bit like what a ballerina might do. Coming to a point that feels just about tough enough, and placing your hands down, making sure your shoulders are rolled back so your upper body's straight, and you've come to a place that's not about going all the way down, it's just about finding that place that hurts enough, and breathing. Nice deep breaths. So you should feel a little bit of burn in your thighs and a little bit of a stretch on the inside and the back of your legs. Yes. Excellent. And then inhale, coming up. Have a little shake, but keep your feet where they are. And exhale, coming down again. Nice deep breaths. So the trick is also to try and stay in one vertical line, so not to lean forward too much, because you're also using your back muscles to stay upright. Okay, and then inhale, coming up. Have a little shake, and we're going to do it one more time. Exhale as you come down. Maybe try and go down a little bit more this time. Try not to use your arms to keep yourself upright, just trying to sort of have your arms arms there. Nice, very nice. One more deep breath. And inhale, good. I can feel the burn on my legs. I don't know if you can, but I can. All right, nice, another little shake. And then we're going to repeat what we did before. So again, bring the feet out wide. And this time, making sure your feet are parallel. Bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, opening the chest. And exhale, folding forward. It's the same as we've just done. And inhale, bring the hands forward first. So you stretch your back forward. And then exhale, folding down. And you can keep your hands out in front of you, or you can bring your hands closer to your feet. Whatever feels more comfortable for you, whatever feels more stable. And then as you exhale, just finding that place where you can rest, rest in your very active position. And then letting go of your neck and head. And when I say active passive position, I mean you put your body into a shape where it's stretching itself. Really nice. So one more deep breath here. And then inhale, coming back up onto your hands. Exhale, placing your hands on your hips, and then inhale, bending the knees, and nice and slowly, maybe taking a few breaths to come all the way back up. Nice, excellent. And then coming back to the middle of your mat and having a little shake. Very good. So the next thing before we even think about coming back to the floor, we're going to do some very nice balancing postures. So the very first one is to bring your feet parallel, again, about hip width distance, more or less. Find your center of gravity, literally the line of gravity that is in the middle of your feet, and then just shift it over ever so slightly to your left, so that your right foot just kind of comes up off the ground. So then you're standing on your left leg with your right foot up, and you can just bring your foot up off the ground. It's not easy to do this and stare at a screen at the same time, so you might want to pick a spot that you stare at on the floor or somewhere else to give you a center point. and stay here. If that feels okay for you, then you can bring your foot a bit further up off the floor. And if that still feels okay, then you can bring your hands to your shin. Bending, keeping a little bit of a bend in your left knee. Okay, excellent, fantastic. And then from here, we're gonna stay on the left leg, but very slowly transfer the right leg back. So I'm gonna turn around so you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going this way. And then inhale, coming back forward. And exhale, coming back this way. Takes a lot of concentration. Nice. And inhale, and you can just repeat this, do your movement, your own movement in your own breath. Also take a break and come back to the middle for a second if you need. But staying on your left leg, moving the right foot from forwards to backwards. You can test and see how comfortable it feels for your right leg to go back, for your right leg to come forward. Nice, deep breaths. Excellent. Okay. And then bring that right leg back down to the floor. Should feel a bit of a burn in your left leg, so you can give it a shake. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, starting from the middle, finding your center of balance and bringing over to the right so that your left leg comes up. Might be a bit more difficult on one side or the other. Bring the left leg up. And if that feels comfortable, you can bring the left leg all the way up. Nice. And then with your breath, again, moving with your breath, try it, see what happens. When you bring your leg back and inhale, bring your leg up. And exhale, bring your leg back. See how far, oops, hitting the furniture without hitting the furniture. Bring your leg up. Wouldn't be a Zoom call without a cat appearing on our screens. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, coming back, really nice. And inhale, coming back to the middle. You all have excellent balance as far as I can see. So then we can try something else. Again, starting from the middle and then shifting your weight over to the left, bring your right leg up. You can place your foot, so this is a more classic tree pose. You can bring your foot either onto your ankle, below your knee, or above your knee, but not on the knee because your knee needs to be able to wobble to find your balance. Again, possibly picking a spot to stare at that's not the screen or me. And as you breathe and you feel comfortable, if you feel comfortable, you can bring your hands in front of your chest or you can bring it down. But if you feel comfortable, you can also challenge yourself a little bit more and bring your hands up and out. Tree pose. Nice deep breaths. So remember, your left knee needs to be able to wobble slightly. Beautiful. And one more deep breath here. And then exhale, bring your arms down and then bring your leg down. Come back to the middle. A little shake and shifting your weight over to the right. Bring your foot onto your ankle, underneath the knee or above the knee. Nice deep breaths. Find your place where you feel comfortable. Spine is long. And then if you're happy, you can bring your hands up and out. Nice deep breaths. And hopefully you have this feeling that you're really kind of rooted into the ground because all of your weight is resting on a single foot, which is more than usual. I'm so impressed by all of you. This looks so fabulous. And exhale, bring the hands down. And as you exhale, bring bring your leg down. Okay, well, since we've made this all look so easy, we're going to do one more standing posture that takes a little bit more balance and a little bit more, a few more steps to get there. So we're going to start off from the front of our mat. We're going to take a step down on our mat, again, like we did before. And then turn your left foot forward. So exactly forward, your left. And start to bend your left knee. You can bring your right knee a little bit further back. So like we did in the warrior postures last week, making sure the knee doesn't come past the ankle. So you kind of want to be in a very comfortable stance. But this time, we're going to keep our feet in that place, but we're going to bring the left hand in front of the left foot. In front or slightly to the left in front of your left foot. Okay, so all good so far. And we're going to keep the right hip on top of our left hip. Make sure that you've got that you're not going to fall forward. And bring your hand forward, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're transferring the weight onto the left leg and into the forward and slightly left direction in front of us, so that the right leg can come up on its own. You shouldn't fall over because you've got your right hand here for balance, you've got your left hand here for balance, and your knee is as bent as it needs to be for this to feel safe. Nice deep breath. I don't want to see anybody crashing into any furniture in their living room. Okay. So wherever you land that feels kind of comfortable, the first step is just to bring your weight onto your left leg, which is nice and bent, and that your right leg comes up off the ground. If you're feeling comfortable and you've been here before in this position, then you can start to extend up towards the ceiling, but that's not really necessary because the steps before are actually harder. Okay, and exhale, coming back down. Inhale, coming back up. We're going to try it on the other side, and then we're going to try it once more. So again, right foot pointing forward. Right hand comes forward, slightly to the right. So forward and slightly to the right. My left hand is here in case I need it so that I'm not falling anywhere. And then I'm transferring my weight onto my right foot. My left foot comes slightly up off the ground. Nice, excellent. So this is where you want to be, and you want your right hip stacked above your left hip. So there's a lot of hip opening going on as well. If you feel comfortable and you've been here before, then you can extend your right leg out and your left leg out and your left arm up. But otherwise, you're just here concentrating on bringing your weight onto your right leg. Fabulous. One more deep breath. And then inhale, coming back into the center. We're going to try this once more on each side because you've done it once. It feels very strange, so we can do it one more time. Okay, so left foot pointing forward, left knee bends. Left hand comes down slightly in front. And the right arm is here for protection if you need it. And I'm transferring my weight forward onto my bent left leg so that my right leg can start to come up a little bit on its own. Nice deep breaths. And then if you're comfortable and you've been here before, then you can extend your right leg out, right arm out. Nice deep breaths. And then exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up. One more time on the other side. Make sure you keep breathing. So right foot forward and coming onto your right leg and onto your right arm. Left arm is here for protection in the beginning. Coming onto the right leg. Left leg comes up. Inhale, nice deep breaths. If you've been here before, then you can stretch out. Otherwise, you're staying here. One more deep breath. And the leg comes down. Inhale, coming back to standing. All right, very nice. Have a little stretch. I always find that in things like that where it gets a bit complicated, it's really hard not to take yourself seriously. But I mean, who cares if you can stand like this in your living room? When do you ever do that in your day-to-day life, right? So it's just an exercise. Okay, so now we're going to transition onto the floor and we're going to do a little bit more passive hip opening type things. So coming back to the front of your mat, toes pointing forward, slightly bent knees. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, lengthening forward. Exhale, folding all the way down. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, legs come back. Inhale into plank, and then knees, chest and chin. Bring the legs back down as you exhale. Inhale, coming onto your forearms, and exhale into there. Inhale, lengthening up, and exhale, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, onto the knees. And we're gonna just come into seated. So you can cross your shins and roll back, or come into seated however feels comfortable for you. Bring the legs forward. Again, like we did last week. So you're aiming for something more or less like 90 degrees. This is where the cushion can already come in. So if this feels like a lot for the back of your legs, you can sit on the edge of the cushion. Okay. So this tilts your hips forward slightly, makes it a little bit easier. And finding a place where your spine is long, and then just placing your hands where they feel comfortable, rolling your shoulders back, chin parallel to the floor, and nice deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you like, just also slowing the heart rate slightly after all these funny standing postures. Nice deep breaths. And just kind of allowing yourself to sink with all of the surface area of your legs into the floor. Excellent. And then as you inhale, you can lift up a little bit out of your hips. And as you exhale, coming ever so slightly forward with your hands. So we're not aiming to go really, really far down. We're trying to keep the chest up. So not rounding the back down. It's a slightly different exercise. So rolling the shoulders back and keeping the chest coming forward, like as if you're kind of closing a book. Nice deep breaths. Find your place that feels just about as uncomfortable as it needs to be. And then just allowing yourself to, as much as possible, relax into it. So this is always the biggest kind of mental difficulty I had, or what's the fancy word of saying it, cognitive dissonance with yoga, is that you kind of throw your body into a shape that's very, very uncomfortable, and then you're told to relax. And I always found this really hard to understand, because I thought, why am I trying to relax in a place that feels so uncomfortable? But the philosophy of it is that if you can relax in a place that's highly physically uncomfortable in your body by yourself, then you can also be, I guess, more zen in difficult, uncomfortable situations in life, is the philosophy. And it also means that you're stretching your body, which is a good thing. So nice deep breath as much as you can. And if you feel that your body is allowing you to, then you can just come a little bit further forward. Not if you're stretching against something that feels like it's really painful, only if it feels like there's a little bit more room to stretch forward. Excellent. And then inhale, coming back up. If you had a cushion, then taking the cushion away. And bring knees in. And we're going to do a little bit of what we did last week, but we're not going to do the rolling. So just coming up onto your sit bones and bringing the heels up off the floor. And then bring your hands underneath the legs. There. Excellent. And then engaging the core muscles, so everything that's around your belly button, to bring the feet up. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, Bakasana, but I'm going to double check that because I've had a request to put in our Sanskrit names, boat pose. So staying here, using the arms as much or as little as you need to. But if you want to really challenge yourself, you can bring the arms out and just using your core muscles to stay upright. Nice deep breaths. We're going to do this a couple of times, so brace yourself. Nice deep breath. Excellent. All the wiggling and the wobbling is very much encouraged. And then crossing the shins, bring your feet down. If you want to, you can bring your hands next to you and just pushing up from the hips. And then coming back, same thing. So finding the position with your back and your legs, bringing your hands, you can also interlace your fingers underneath your legs and then bring the feet up. And breathing and smiling, because that really helps in this position. Bringing the arms out, even if it's a really forced smile. Smiling definitely helps. Nice deep breath. Imagine having to talk whilst you do this. Okay, and then crossing the shins, bring the feet down, inhale. And one more time, this time all out, as far up as you can go and as wobbly as you're prepared to go. If you want to, bring the feet all the way up, letting go of the hands, nice deep breaths, very, very wobbling. Nice deep breaths and cross the shins and lift the hips up. If you're comfortable to do so, tuck your toes and bring your hands forward. And bring the legs back. Okay. Inhale to plank, knees, chest, and chin down. And inhale, coming up onto the forearms or onto your hands. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, taking the toes under, coming onto the knees first. And then coming into your down dog. Nice deep breaths. You can also bring your feet a little bit wider. And really stretching out here in your down dog. And then inhale, coming again back onto the knees and crossing the shins and rolling back or coming into seated. Excellent, coming into seated, bringing your legs out again. And we're just going to do this actually one more time because it's good to have this little repetition sometimes. So you can come back onto sitting on something, or you can just try sitting without anything. But this time we're going to go straight into the stretching forward. So inhaling, coming up from the hips, exhaling, coming forward. Nice deep breaths. And then we are going to roll the back and do something different. But just, again, it's like each time you do it, it's a little bit more muscle memory for your body to know that it's okay. So nice deep breaths. And then inhale, coming up, and this time we are going to roll down. So you're coming down kind of with the top of your forehead. So you're rolling down into yourself. Bring your hands really close up to, or bring them out wherever feels comfortable. And then inhale, unrolling yourself, coming back. And then bring the knees in and rolling down. So your feet are on the floor, but your back is also on the floor. Making sure that you can place your head down comfortably. And bring the feet close towards your hips. Bring the hands either to your sides or interlacing your fingers underneath your hips, and inhale, pushing the hips up towards the spine, making sure that the knees stay parallel. Nice deep breaths. And then exhale, rolling your spine back down. Bring your knees in and just rest for a moment. And then inhale again, making sure your knees are parallel to each other. And then inhale, rolling the hips up towards the ceiling. You can push down with your hands, looking up towards the ceiling. Maybe pushing the hips a little bit further up towards the ceiling. One more deep breath. And then slowly rolling the back down towards the ground. Inhale, bring the knees into the chest. And just gently rolling or rocking from side to side, massaging your lower back. We're going to do a very simple closing sequence so that we have enough time for our Shavasana. So we're going to do the most basic, easiest form of shoulder stand. And just a note to say, because obviously when we do this in the setup, we don't necessarily have the opportunity to, but it's really nice to do this sometimes against the wall. So if you're doing your yoga practice in your own time and you've got a nice comfortable place close to the wall, you can put your feet up onto the wall and stay there for a few minutes, so long as you don't lose the feeling in your feet. So bring your hands down to the floor next to your hips and feet come up towards the ceiling, knees as bent or as straight as they'll go. You can get a little bit more in touch with your feet by moving them around, bring a little bit of movement to the ankles, to the toes. Or keeping a nice gentle bend in the knees, just keeping the feet up towards the ceiling. And then just counting 10 of your own deep breaths. And once you've done your 10 deep breaths, then you can bring your legs back down to the floor, bent knees, straight knees, whatever feels more comfortable, and bringing the legs out towards the sides of your mat. Bring your hands out towards the sides of your mat. If you want to grab yourself a blanket or a cushion or some socks or whatever you need to make yourself feel more comfortable in our Shavasana. Bring the feet out towards the sides of your mat. Bring your hands out towards the side of the mat. Allowing the chest to be open, hips to be open. And if you're comfortable, closing your eyes. And allowing yourself to sink into the floor. So scanning your body from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, releasing any tension, releasing any tension in the top of your head, your forehead, your eyes, your ears, and even your nose. Releasing any tension in the mouth, tongue, and the jaw, so that maybe your mouth is slightly open. Releasing any tension in your neck and in your throat. In your shoulders and down the arms, your elbows, wrists, and fingers. Releasing any tension in your chest and in your abdomen, down your back, and in your hips and thighs, down the front of your leg, back of your legs. Releasing any tension in your knees, in your calves, shins, and releasing any tension in your ankles and your toes. And just allowing yourself for the next few minutes, just to allow yourself to completely melt into the ground, letting go of the practice, letting go of the shapes that you put your body into, letting go of the instructions that you've been given over the past hour. Letting go of any particular way in which you're breathing, just allowing the breath to do what it wants to do. And finally, just allowing your mind to think its thoughts, trying not to get too caught up in those thoughts. So just allowing thoughts to come and go, trying not to get too attached. Watching what's going on in your mind without any judgment. Just briefly allowing the mind to do whatever it wants to do. If it wants to think, let it think. If it wants to dream or imagine, allow it to do that also. And bring your awareness back to your breath, back to the way in which you're breathing. And then starting to take some more deliberate inhales and exhales, filling your whole body. Imagining your breath reaching all the way to the tips of your fingers and toes. Imagining it filling up the whole outline of your body on the floor. And then bringing your awareness to this outline of your body and to the weight of your body on the floor. To the feeling of your body on the floor. And then keeping your eyes closed, bringing a little bit of movement back to your toes and to your fingers. And then to your wrists and to your ankles. And again, keeping the eyes closed, stretching the feet out, bringing the hands up over the head and having a big morning-like stretch. And then when you're ready, gently bringing your legs in towards your chest, hugging the knees in towards your chest. And just gently rocking from side to side. And then when you're ready, dropping over to your right side and using your hand or your arm as a pillow on the floor. And again, just allowing yourself to melt into the ground. And then keeping the eyes closed, slowly coming back up into a comfortably seated position in your own time. And slowly growing into the space above your head, spine long, shoulders down. And again, just like we did in the beginning, taking a moment to thank yourself for taking an hour out of your day for some self-care, stretching, meditation, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it. Coming back to the intention that you set for yourself in the beginning of the practice, if you did set an intention. And then slowly opening the eyes, coming back into the room where you are, becoming aware again of where you are and who you are. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. Our hour went very, very quickly.